Hi guys, it's Chris and I'm here with the Oneplus 3. Now, I've just done an unboxing video with the phone and its accessories like the dash charge car charger for instance and a bunch of the new covers. So go check that out if you haven't seen it, but we also thought have a bit of a run through the interface because one of the nicest parts of the Oneplus 3 is the actual interface, the new little features that Oneplus has thrown in there. So, quick look, you'll see obviously it looks like a pretty stock version of Android, except with obviously the glorious Never Settle background wallpaper and all the rest. Kind of reminds me of the Xperia X with its nice swishy colours and all the rest of it. If we dive into about the phone, we'll see that it is running Android version 6.0.1, but it's also running OnePlus's own Oxygen OS version 3.1.2. So this basically, rather than sitting heavily over the top like the likes of Samsung's overlay for instance, it just adds a few extra little bonus features, mostly to do with customization and shortcuts and the rest, which is quite nice, a few little gestures and the rest. So for instance, if you flick right, you'll see that you come into OnePlus's shelf feature. This is basically a quick way to access the people you love the most, the apps that you most use, and the likes of that. You also get, if you give this a tap, you can see you can show the current weather, for instance, which is quite nice if you can't be bothered to look out the window or something. It's looking like a balmy 17 degrees in the West End, but it's also pissing it down, unfortunately. Yeah, partly sunny, bit of a lie, never mind. That's what windows are for, right? You could also reshuffle these around, so you can move them to wherever you like. And you can also add new widgets as well, just by tapping this little plus button there. You've got a choice of all the standard Android stuff and the rest, so that's quite nice. So you can stick in whatever you like. You can also, if you don't want the shelf, just long press on the desktop, go to customize, and for instance, you can just say, no, I don't want the shelf, please, get rid of that. And just tap save, and then as you can see, no more shelf. But we can put that back because I actually quite like the shelf, it's quite nice. Quick search, quick notifications. You can also flick to the right. As you can see, of course, we've got the good old Google search bar sat there at the top, like a dog turd on a nice lawn. Don't really like having that there. It kind of looks a bit crap and it's intrusive. So you can at the very least make it transparent if you still want it there, or you can just say, no thanks, Mr. Google. Love you and all, but don't want you there on the desktops. You can also fiddle around with the icon sizes. Unfortunately, you can't fit more icons onto the desktop if you make them small, but maybe you want to see more of the wallpaper, for instance, and obviously that's a nice way of doing that. So let's make those standard again, just hit save. So there you go, so as you can see the Google taskbar thing is now gone, so that's quite nice. You can also, of course, populate them with usual widgets and wallpaper and the rest, and yeah, have a bit of a play around with all that, so that's all good. Right, what's next, kiddies? Let's dive into the notifications bars. You can see that looks pretty stock Android right there, but you can also have a bit of a play around with, for instance, inverting the colours. So let's give that a tap, and now you can see the OnePlus 3 has a nice psychedelic feel, kind of like you've popped a pill that you shouldn't have done. Ooh. We don't condone that behaviour, obviously. Do not do that. Right, so let's go back into here and we'll uninvert the colours. Uninvert, obviously a good word. Use that in everyday conversation. Let's dive into the settings. Now, at the moment, this is actually in dark mode, which we've done by going into customization. Let's take it out of dark mode. Just quite nice if it's, if you're in bed at night and you don't want to disturb your partner or whatever. But let's put it in normal modes. Do that. Right, there we go. So now, as you can see, the Android settings menu, pretty standard, but you've got a few little additions here and there as well. It's got the customization where, of course, you've got the likes of the dark mode. You could also customize which icons are displayed on your status bar. So let's give that a bit of a tap. There we go. So you can see exactly what's in there. There's no new ones that you can add in by the looks of it, but you can get rid of any that you don't really use. So for instance, Ethernet, let's just ditch that. There we go, job done. Back into the settings. If we go back out of customization, go into buttons, you can actually change all the button setup as well. So for instance, if you don't want to use the hardware buttons, you do have a back and a recent apps button right here. So give that a tap, there you go. And also the back. But you could also have the on-screen navigation bar if for some reason you don't want to use the hardware ones. So that's there at all times. You can just turn that on and off. You can also swap the order of the back and the recent apps button if you want to do that, although that just gets confusing. Why would you have the back on the right? Honestly, people, come on, get it together. Backlight, obviously, and all the rest of it, so you can save your battery life if you don't want that popping up. And you can also change what happens if you long press one of these buttons. So for instance, if we go into the home button, as you can see right now, it's set to open the shelf if you long press the home button. So let's do that. And there it is. Ta-da! And you can also set up all three buttons to open up a different app when long pressed, which is nice. So that's good. And if we dive back into settings, one of the last things is gestures. OnePlus 3 also supports gestures, just like previous OnePlus. So if we turn that on, as you can see, you can draw an O to open the camera from anywhere, draw V to toggle the flashlight, etc., etc. So let's give all those a little tap, and then hopefully, if we were to do that, if you just go into the thing, if we go draw an O, and there we go, straight into the camera app. And there is the camera app. So yeah, OnePlus 3's camera app, as you can see, it's nice and straightforward, pretty streamlined, and you can dive into the settings and change the aspect ratio. So let's make that 16:9, so we get a nice screen filler there. And give it a little tap. As you can see, it's super fast. 16 megapixel camera on the back. Hopefully, it'll be a good one. So as you can see, you can manually focus at any time, play around with the brightness and the rest. So kind of like the Moto G4s. It's not too dissimilar. You got the HDR mode up there as well, which is nice, and you can swap HD and not HD, and then there is the flash toggle as well. And if we dive into there, you've got more of the camera mode stuff, so you can do time-lapse video, slow motion video, all the rest of it, exactly what you'd expect. So yeah, so it's a nice little, sort of pretty simple interface. And if we flip to the front-facing camera, there I am in all my glory, looking as gorgeous as ever. So yeah, it's an 8 megapixel camera on the front, and again, should be pretty quick. Seems to be nice and detailed, so we'll be checking that out in full. So, that in a nutshell is the OnePlus 3. Do really like the design. Oh, I forgot to mention, of course, as well, is you've got this nice little button there as well, which switches between the different mode, do not disturb, all notifications, etc., etc. So that's a great little feature if you go into a lot of meetings and you don't want people disturbing you, for instance. So yeah, OnePlus 3, really like the design of it. Nice metallic finish to this version. We've also got a bunch of the OnePlus covers that we're going to test out. So you can give it a nice wooden finish, for instance, if you like. And yeah, kind of reminds me of the old HTC, the likes of the OnePlus M9, the One M9, and other phones like that. Nice linear design there. Camera slightly jutting. Got the little LED flash under there. But yeah, it's a nice looking phone. For a 5.5 incher, it definitely feels good. It's got nice narrow design, as you can see, very thin bezels on the side, so it doesn't actually feel like a 5.5 incher, and can actually use it one-handed quite well. It's got very good grip, as you can see. It's close to vertical there, and still sticking nicely to my palm, although that might be because my hands are a bit sweaty. Just thought I'd share. So yeah, so if you've got any questions at all, we're going to be playing with the OnePlus 3 a lot the next few days, over the weekend, etc., etc. So we're going to be doing full camera reviews, comparisons, all the rest. But if there's anything specific you would like us to let you know about or do a video on, then let us know. And thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.